It's SmackDown time once again, folks, and we have the fallout of Extreme Rules 2013. We have, of course, Superstars. Funny thing about Superstars, I just realized this. I noticed some people were like mad they weren't on Superstars. Like, how come I'm not on Superstars? And it's like, well, this and that. It's actually listed as an A show for some reason. So, oops. So, in 5 months' time, I'll finally be able to switch Superstars back to a B show. So, I can finally fix that. If anyone could tell me how to edit that, like if I can edit that in the editor, I couldn't find a way to do it. But yeah, no. That's my mistake, my bad. But it's not too big of a deal. I guess it gets more pop for some people, I guess. I forget how B and A shows work. I'm usually playing smaller companies that don't even have a TV show. But yeah, no, besides that, thanks for listening to that. Let's just jump right into Superstars. So we have a main event recap. Just recapping the main event stories for the titles. John Cena beating Dolph Ziggler for his title, respectively, at Extreme Rules. And then we also have what just happened on Raw with Chris Jericho and The Big Show having to fight it out, going at one-on-one next week for the #1 contender spot. There'll be an Action Jericho tonight, actually, against Dragon Aces, the team of Tanahashi and Yoshitatsu. But yeah, no, just a quick little feud builder storyline there. And in a pretty decent performance, we have the debut of Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian making his WWE debut. Randomly, my mid-card's kind of been befuddled, so to speak, with the various movement from the mid-card to upper mid-card to now main event scene. So in order to build it up, I had to steal some people, and Frankie Kazarian just had to be one of them. He takes on Mason Ryan, and he wins in about 15 minutes with a wave of the future, getting a 70 performance, really good. And him and Mason Ryan have some good chemistry, and it lifted the match. Not sure what I'm going to do anything, if at all, with Frankie Kazarian, but he should be a good mid-card talent. 70s are really good. And next we have Ziggler. He is currently injured. If you don't remember, he got a small injury at Extreme Rules, but it's nothing too big, I believe. So he's icing that down, and he just looks depressed. And who better to cheer him up than the Second City selfies with Colt Cabana and Tyler Breeze coming over, and they're like, "Hey, Dolph Ziggler, learn how to smile." Well, Tyler Breeze just takes pictures, and Ziggler's like, "I appreciate the help, guys, but I just got to get better and focusing in on John Cena and focusing on getting my World Heavyweight title back. That's the most important thing right now." And Colt Cabana and Tyler Breeze, they understand, and it's just a short little segment. I thought maybe trade some pop over to Colt and Tyler, just for the hell of it. Why not? Then we have a women's tag team action. We have the Gatecrashers, the team of Velvet and Katie Lee, taking on the Bella Twins, and the Gatecrashers actually pick up the win when Katie Lee hits a blood mist on Nikki Bella. With Katie Lee doing an 82, really good performance. Velvet doing pretty good as well with a 78. And they both have great chemistry teaming with each other, so that's really good. And we have, I believe this is before the main event, we have a short little promo about CM Punk telling Randy Orton that he has made a grave mistake in attacking him, costing him the rightful chance to regain his WWE Championship. He says he doesn't give a shit about The Miz. The Miz is an idiot, in fact. But Randy Orton currently has CM Punk's attention, and as we all know, that's the last thing you want, because people who have CM Punk's attention don't come out the same way again. We have our main event here. Main event, we have Jericho. They defeat Dragon Aces when the Big Show hits Yoshi Tanahashi with a knockout punch. For their credit, they tried to do good, but it just wasn't good enough. Jericho and the Big Show obviously doing pretty good when they team up together. But how are they going to be as opponents? That's, I think, the main question you have to ask yourself, is how exactly do they do that? And we're going to end the show there. Let's see. Yoshitatsu was slightly overused. Not like I give a shit. So I'll see you guys for the Smackdown. Not taping, but the live Smackdown, which will be next. Hey, it's Smackdown time, and we got a pre-show match to start things off with Derek Bateman taking on Alexander Rusev in the Dark Show match, with Bateman picking up the win over Rusev with a TKO in about 7:36. Bateman getting a 50, that's pretty good, pretty decent performance, if I do say so myself. Rusev getting an alright performance with a 32. But now we're going to go on to the main show here. And in our opening segment, John Cena comes out. John Cena clearly disgruntled. No emotion on the man's face, as we've seen out of him recently. You know, John Cena is obviously a changed man with this whole new attitude. But just, there's no even personality on the man anymore. He's kind of like a vacuum of charisma, except scarier. He's like Lance Storm, except you're afraid he might beat your ass. And it looks like he was meant to say something. Perhaps management had for him to address the audience. But he just sits there. And he just kind of just is like, whatever. Just holds the belt. Doesn't even really carry it with that much prestige. He clutches it. So it's his, but he doesn't seem to care too much about it. And Christian comes out. Christian comes out to a huge pop and he says, "You know, John, I'm glad you've changed your ways. I always thought you were always a kiss ass. And I'm glad to see that you went from being a kiss ass to a kick ass sort of way. But what you did to Dolph was unthinkable. And what you've done to me, screwing me out of my championship, was also just your secondary mistake. So, you're probably forgetting this, but I've never used my rematch clause on the championship. I'm going to do what Dolph Ziggler couldn't do. At Over the Limit, John, I'm challenging you for that World Heavyweight Championship. There's not a damn thing you can do about it." And Cena just is unfazed. But then he throws a punch at Christian, catching Christian off guard, and then Christian throws one back. We have a massive WWE-like brawl with many, many security coming out to split it up. More than you would think. Mainly, you have to imagine that backstage is absolutely thrilled with having John Cena as the World Heavyweight Champion. So they're trying to avoid incidents like the Ziggler and Rock incidents that we've had in the past. But, yeah, no, Christian is challenging John Cena for his World Heavyweight Championship at Over the Limit in the main event. Well, not in the main event, but the SmackDown main event of the pay-per-view. And then we get a decent match between Ryback and Goldust. Ryback, speaking of championship rematches, Goldust is using his tonight on SmackDown. But once again, he just couldn't overcome the man-beast that is Ryback, who defends his Intercontinental Championship, his first defense, in 20 minutes with a suplex power slam. And then we have a backstage segment, a short little thing with Zack Ryder getting ready for a match. He takes on the newcomer of Frankie Kazarian. When Mark Henry comes down, and Mark Henry has not taken lightly to Zack Ryder since he's come to SmackDown, telling Zack that there's always room in the Hall of Pain for him. Woo woo woo, you know it, bro. And Zack reciprocates the feeling, looking like they might get into a fight, but they just barely don't. And that's how we end that segment. Till we cut to tag team action. Tag team action, we have Sabin and Shelley, the current tag team champions, taking on the Second City Selfies. And they defeat Colt Cabana with a Made in Detroit. Tyler Breeze was the weak link. Colt Cabana getting a 62. Tyler Breeze with a 52. Do we have no worker improvements there? I usually don't check those just because at this point it doesn't matter. But yeah, just getting a win for the tag champs at SmackDown. They are supposed to defend the titles on Raw in a major triple threat, so we'll have to see how that affects them. Next, we cut to an interesting segment where Kevin Nash is shown being beaten down by Swagger and Del Rio, those damn young people, When Rey Mysterio comes to make the save, unfortunately Kevin Nash, he tries to get up when Rey is starting to have the number game catch up with Swagger and Del Rio, taking him out. But Kevin Nash is just too weak, he just can't do it. And he's unable to help Rey as Swagger and Del Rio smile at the handiwork that they have done, clearly impressed with themselves for beating up two old men. Next up, we have that match. We have a decent match with Zack Ryder defeating Frankie Kazarian with the Rough Rider. But during the match, Mark Henry ran out. I like to imagine it was during the entrance of the match. Has ran down and beaten the crap out of Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder getting his ass beat, but still able to pull the win with the Rough Rider in 1818. An impressive performance by Frankie Kazarian with a 69 and Zack Ryder getting an 87. And the storyline doesn't have a lot of heat as of right now, but we're going to be building on that. And an interesting little segment we had there. So that's always good. Next we have the Divas coming around. The Divas of Doom stand in the ring. Beth Phoenix hyping up her match against AJ for the Divas title at some point. We don't know when. Due to winning the Battle Royal Mayhem match on Monday. Madison Lane interrupts. She tells Beth Phoenix that she's so old the dinosaurs are sick of her. She was the best champion, the best Divas champion, the best women's champion of the past decade. And she's still the future of the division. Katie Lee, formerly known as Katie Lee Burchill, comes out saying that being on a tear, she should have the shot at the Divas title. She also insults Beth as well, also calling her old and no one gives a shit. Finally, though, the champion, AJ Lee, our Divas champion, comes out. She tells everyone that she doesn't care who she has to face. It's fine by her either way. But the main thing to take out of this is everyone just took a pot shot at Beth Phoenix, and Beth Phoenix clearly looks pissed about that fact. We do have to see where that ends up going. And in our main event, a really good main event, I forgot these two had great chemistry. Christian defeats Alberto Del Rio with the spear. I forgot to make mention of this. I don't know what if happened with it. It should say it. I put it in the notes. What happened is that as Alberto is wrestling near the end of the finish, he looks like he's going to go for the cross armbar. When Kevin Nash hobbles his way out, he looks in bad shape, but it was enough of a distraction for a spear from Christian, getting the pinfall in the 1, 2, 3, 99 A-star match. Who doesn't love it? And then we have Sheamus coming down. Christian celebrates his win as Sheamus comes down, money briefcase in hand. He's got a microphone, and he looks about to speak, but before he can, Shawn Michaels and Mr. McMahon come out. Somber looks on their faces. And they tell Sheamus, they're just like, Sheamus, leave. This is too important. And that definitely pisses off Sheamus, but he does comply. Mr. McMahon has a microphone. He says, Christian, as you know, you are obliged to have your championship rematch at Over the Limit. But me and Shawn Michaels talked to Cena, and he said he refused to fight you. He said you're not worthy of his time or energy. Christian looks fucking furious. You know, who is he to say that? Unless you agree to a stipulation. John Cena wants a stipulation in the match. And that stipulation in the match will be an I Quit match. Your WWE career on the line. That is the only way John wants this match to go. Christian's taken aback by this, and we end SmackDown with a confused and possibly scared #1 contender. Will Christian accept the I Quit, or will he continue to have a WWE career? Will he put his career on the line against the man that has been absolutely dominant after having the worst years of his life? And that is how we end SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how the ratings did. 93A, Tyler Breeze was used too much. I only used Tyler Breeze like once. That's funny. But, yeah, no, really good SmackDown, though. What's it called? Really liked it. We're setting up our feuds for Over the Limit after having a great Extreme Rules. And I will see you guys all for the next episode of Monday Night Raw.